Good morning. We are at Blackberry Market in North Little Rock, and I am sitting with Steve with the Rural Caucus. We have Debrah Mitchell with the Black Caucus, and we have Rob Tellez he is running for judge in Little Rock. And we also have Miss LaToya Morgan. She is running for president of the AEA. We did not have any bills this week to talk about, but I did want to recognize Mr. Roy Bill Llewellyn from Mariana. He was the second Black person to serve in the Arkansas State Senate in the 20th century. He died on Tuesday at a Memphis hospital after a long illness. He was 71. Bill was elected in 1990. Llewellyn served for 10 years in the Senate and was sponsor of the law that created the Arkansas Minority Health Commission, which works to assure that all Arkansans have equal access to quality health care, regardless of race or ethnicity, and to eliminate racial and ethnic health disparities in Arkansas. We have a very exciting space this morning. We have a lot to talk about. Our topic this morning is running for office. We have two individuals that are running for office here in Arkansas, and we have Ms. Debrah Mitchell, who is with the Black Caucus, and they are holding some workshops for people that are running for office. I'm going to give you a brief background on all of our speakers today. We have Steve Grapp. He's the chair of the Rural Caucus of Arkansas. Steve is a father, husband, veteran, farmer, community organizer, and activist. He graduated from Sylvan Hills High School in Sherwood, Arkansas, and attended the University of Arkansas Fayetteville and Henderson State. His background is in engineering, sales, business management, and he ran a photography studio for 10 years. Steve is passionate about the fight for equity, liberty, and opportunity for every citizen. Steve believes in fairness and justice for all, and he will fight with all of the energy that he has until the last breath leaves his body to make this world a better place for everyone. And we have Ms. Debrah Mitchell. Debrah Mitchell is the president and lifetime member of Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus and was a member of the Democratic Party of Arkansas Candidate Recruitment Committee. She was appointed to serve as Biden campaign representative on the DNC Rules Committee for the 2020 National Convention and was the 2019 Democratic Woman of the Year recipient. A graduate of the University of Oklahoma, she is a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Augustine Catholic Church, and a lifetime associate member of Jack and Jill of America. She is a founding board member of the New Leaders Council, a nonprofit leadership development organization that equips young millennials with the skills to run for office, manage campaigns, and create startup business. Born and raised in New York, she has been a resident of North Little Rock for over 30 years, and she and her husband Dennis have two children and one adorable grandson. We have Ms. LaToya Morgan. LaToya has been serving students and families for the past 15 years in the field of education. She currently serves as the library media specialist at Carver STEAM, located in Little Rock. LaToya serves as the parent engagement liaison in her building, former PPC member, LREA executive board member, co-chair of AAIM Social Action Committee, co-chair of CAAC of Delta Sigma Theta Social Action Committee, and recently AEA Public Relations Committee member. LaToya understands and recognizes social emotional learning and the needs for students and educators. She will continue to strive to recognize and identify the continuous needs and challenges for students and educators throughout the state of Arkansas. And lastly, we have Robert Tellez. Robert was born in El Paso, Texas in 1979, and he moved to Little Rock with his family in 1985. He graduated from Catholic High School as salutatorian in 1997, Duke University in 2001 with a BA in economics. On July 19, 2003, he met his wife, Mary, on a blind date at a concert in Little Rock, and they've been together ever since, marrying in 2005. They were blessed with two children, Lucy in 2011 and Eli in 2013. Boxley, their beloved golden doodle, came along in 2022. Robert attended the University of Arkansas's William H. Bowen School of Law, graduating in 2007 with honors. While in law school, he was a member of the Law Review and vice president of the Hispanic Law Students Association. Robert started Tellez law firm, PLLC, in 2015 to better serve the community with a commitment to compassion, trust, and excellence in legal services. Thank you all so much for coming this morning. I I love this cafe. It's
Beautiful it is.
it's really, really good.
Really
Yeah,
nice.
I like it. Yeah. I started with you, Miss Debrah. Would you please tell us a little bit more about the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus and your mission?
Okay. So the Democratic Black Caucus were one of the official auxiliaries of the Democratic Party. We were founded in 1982, and our mission is quite simply we promote the election of African Americans to all levels of office, appointed or elected, from school board all the way up to a federal office. And so we do that. We also are the voice of the Black perspective for the party. So so since then, we have just been advocating and doing trainings and workshops and being present. Voter registration is really a big push for us, and we're happy to be here. I've been involved with the Black Caucus for a long time, but I always was, a supportive. And I was elected in 2018. I think, 2018. Yes. So
Feels like you've been the
it feels like I've
chair
been
forever.
forever. But it really, it took a minute. I'll share this. I really was real involved, and then I wasn't, because then I was with Jack and Jill. I was serving as a regional director, and that just like took up all my energy. And after I graduated out of the and finished my term as a regional director, was right around the time that Trump was made it into office. And I remember President Obama in his farewell address saying, if you don't like your elected officials or what they're doing, pick up a clipboard and get to work. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. But what is it? Here. And when there was elections for the Black Caucus, I said, this is it. I'm going to pick up my clipboard. I'm going to run, and I'm going to do what I can. And so we're here. I still have a clipboard.
And I don't know if you're a member of the Black Caucus
I'm
yet.
not yet.
You need to be.
Yeah.
You need to be.
Hey,
I'm a lifetime
yeah.
member of the Black Caucus.
Yeah.
Very proud to be. And as the Rural Caucus, we have made it a commitment to align with the Black Caucus, that we are going to align ourselves and go to the same places and get in the same place and have the same message and work together, because we're all rural.
Right.
I mean, there are part of the Black Caucus that's not rural, but as far as we're concerned, we're all in it together. So I'm glad to carry a clipboard with you. Can I ask our soon-to-be judge a question?
Yeah.
What was the concert?
Oh, it was a widespread panic concert.
Back to the Black Caucus. I noticed that you guys had an event last month, the King Kennedy Awards. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
For the King Kennedy, I'm just recovering. It was in the February.
I saw the pictures.
We're very fortunate to have a signature program. It's our signature fundraising event, the King Kennedy Awards. It's our fundraising to helps us with the operations and do the programs that we wanted to do. We honor Arkansans for all the work that they do in the community. So 5 are what we call signature awards, that the public nominates people for, whether it's community service, education, government, and women's leadership and economic development. So there's those 5. And then there's 2 sets of awards that the presidents and the caucus helps to select. And one is the President's Awards, and then the Lifetime Achievement Awards. And those awards are for people who help us with our mission. And so this year, the President's Awards were individuals who were part of the 2022 candidate election cycle. They ran for office. So they each were someone that we really kind of shined a light on. You had Mayor Jalen Smith, who was elected the youngest Black to ever be elected as mayor and for his fortitude to, really get involved. I mean, we need a whole bunch of J-Lins. It was Chris Jones, of course, and then LaToya, Judge LaToya Honorable. And for her, she never gave up. She ran as her third time running.
That's right.
So, and then of course, lifetime was none other than the former Senator Joyce Elliott.
Yeah.
So we do that. We're super excited to do it. Next year will be our 20th year of doing that event. So, yep. So yes, that's what we got.
That's awesome.
I'll definitely make it next year for sure.
We're already planning.
Yeah. So the Black Caucus is hosting workshops around the state, and you've already had one in West Memphis. You have one coming up in Camden, and then another in Arkadelphia. Can you tell us more about the workshops?
Sure. So these run for office workshops, it is helping us to get people who are thinking about running for office, get them together and give them some tools that they need and information. It's really to educate and inform people on how to run for office. Being out here in the election season and seeing candidates, we see a whole bunch of candidates, and there's always this common denominator. Man, they just didn't know what was happening. They just, it's more than just a desire. You got to have the 3 M's. You got to have a message, you got to have money, and you got to have the manpower or people power. And just those basics, because they will always ask me that. So if you don't have those 3 M's, I'm speaking to you.
Thank you, please. I need it. Tell me.
Right. You don't have those 3 M's, you need to get those first. And but this workshop is designed to help them. We don't go deep into the weeds on each of them, but we talk about what you need to do before you run and things before you file and then after you file. And figure out what position is best. Because many times we have these great people who are just, want to run. They're super excited, never ran before. And you ask them, what do you want to run for? And they'll say, United States Senate. Okay. It takes more than just, I want to run because I don't like who's in office. It's gotta be something more. You gotta be ready because you'll become disenchanted. And then you start blaming. You're blaming the party. If I hear one more time someone says the reason why then it's because it was a Democratic Party, I'm like, sorry, buddy. It's a little bit more than that. But so we figured to get ahead, we're gonna start now. So we picked these 3. Definitely West Memphis was one of our first stops because that is a critical county because we focus on 28 Black Belt counties. These are counties and where Steve focused on the rural, we focus on where a large population of African Americans, a large percentage of it. And so West Memphis was real critical because it has the 3rd largest population of African Americans at voting age, and Chris Jones lost that by 1 vote. And I still kind of, salty about that. So we figured we're gonna have to get in there and figure out who's gonna run, so we can. If we just get people to run for these local, because it will help.
Mhm.
So that's what we're doing. And Camden is next, and then Arkadelphia. Then we'll kind of look and see how it went, tweak it a little bit, and we'll hit a couple of more before filing day in November. So we do need to come here because in Pulaski County, there are about 89 positions up in 2020.
Can you give us the dates on the ones you have so far?
The March 25th was Camden, which is tomorrow.
Okay.
And then April 1st, we'll go to Arkadelphia. And that one is going to be hot because Arkadelphia just love them. They really put a plan together on how to get people elected. That Clark County does an exceptional job. They have Zach Bledsoe is just wonderful. Had people just run for these and try to challenge on the local level.
Mhm.
And it was very helpful. Clark County was very helpful for the governors. He didn't win that county, but he did exceptionally well in that area. And it's because of the local. people were running. You have Michael, who ran
Hankton.
JP Acton. He was a young African-American, like 21.
He's in college.
He's in college. He's a JP. So that's our future. It's our young people.
Right.
We can't really focus on people who used to be a Democrat, and now they're Republican. If they still a Republican with all that's going on, we don't need them.
Yes.
We need
Yes. I
Hey, and this stuff works.
Yeah.
I'll give an example. When you go into an area and hyper focus like Deborah and the Black Caucus is doing, and we're doing with the Rural Caucus, people start standing up and
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, I might want to do that." I'll give Jonesboro as an example. Dean McDonald's up there working it hard for
Yes.
us.
really
And right now, I was on the phone with him this week, and it looks like we have people ready to run in JP districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8.
wow.
2 House seats and a Senate seat. And we're still like 18 months out.
Yeah.
So when you can get a lot of people excited about running for office, what happens is then they get to tap into their individual network.
Right.
And then you can get down to that precinct level,
Right.
going in and talking to
Right.
people
Mhm.
and informing people and getting people excited to vote.
Right.
And then if the JPs are all doing that, it just naturally works for whoever's running for House seat in that position,
Mhm.
or county clerk, or county
Exactly.
judge, or Senate, or governor if we have a
Right.
governor's race.
Right.
But I love what y'all are doing with the Black Caucus, and we are going to make a difference in 24.
Oh yeah.
Like, things are different now.
Right.
Things are different now.
I agree. I agree.
Also with the Hispanic Caucus.
Yes.
Are you involved in the Hispanic Caucus?
No, I didn't even know it existed.
With all of this
Because we have a district that the Republicans won in Northwest Arkansas that has 58% Hispanic vote.
Mhm.
So we've got to get that vote out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love it. I wanted to talk a little bit about SB 71. You don't want to talk about it? I get it. I get it. I
Yeah.
know.
Again, Dan Sullivan.
I know. I know. It has been a huge topic here in Arkansas. And can you just tell us a little bit about the bill and how it would affect Arkansans?
Sure. SB 71 is slowly becoming that zombie bill that just won't go away. Back in the last session, it was the bill that was trying to eliminate early voting, and it just wouldn't go away. It just kept creeping up. So SB 71 is becoming that. But basically what it is known, the affirmative action, ending affirmative action. It's sponsored by Representative Dan Sullivan out of Jonesboro, which reason why we need someone to go against him. It was narrowly passed in the Senate. And I wanted to make this point that all the Democratic senators voted against it, and all the women in the Senate voted against it.
18 votes, and it was 18 white men.
Right. It was all, yes. Right. It was all white
say
men.
Yes.
I say it too. It was all white men.
It was.
And then really what it is designed to hurt. I make some notes here. So, it was, what it does, it removes anything. If you notice that it removes anything that, if you looked at the bill, and it scratches out, when you look at a bill, it scratched out anything that said civil rights, equity, or minority. Those 3 words, it was really about 5 words, and were removed from that. And it's just, it is it's a big damage to our state, but it criminalizes any agency, state or local or county, from considering race, gender, or ethnicity, or nationality. So it hurts. I mean, its intended target was Black folks. Let's just be simple. Say it like it is. But what it does, it also hurts women. It hurts veterans, people with disabilities, people of color, and all of those that will have fewer ways to eliminate any effort to help level the playing field. It's already bad. I mean, it's already bad, but if we take that away, it's going to make it even worse. It weakens recruitment, especially on the collegiate level, or even in teachers. It's such a bad piece of bill. I mean, it's blatant. And we have to do what we can to stop it. Even I do want to say this, that this bill, sponsored by the Republicans and the people and the legislators who voted for it, it's a threat to their power. They're trying to hold on to power. And when you hold on, so busy trying to hold on to power and throwing whatever you can, you end up hurting everybody and not your intended target. So, but there's going to come a day when things are going to change. It's a power grab, and they're trying desperately to hold on to that power grab. But there's going to come a day when they won't be in power. You see, I'm a hopeful person, and I know that day will come, and I'm here for it. Okay, and I'm going to make it happen because things are changing in our world, right? The browning of America is coming. 22 years. I'm counting down. That's counting down.
But I remember being in like second grade, first grade, talking about how America's a melting pot. Like,
Right.
if that's indoctrination, then that's fine. But we were taught at a young age. We were taught at a young age that this was the great experiment.
Yeah.
That this was where people came to hope and dream, and that we all were equal. And then somehow that train got off the track somewhere.
Right.
We're going to bring it back.
I do want to say that because it's going to be back. We thought it was tabled, but it's may found its way. And so, Citizens First Congress, those are those are the people that big America. They're the ones that keep us abreast. And so the bill's coming back up. So it's going to go to the House, state agencies. So we need everyone who's listening, who may tune in. And there's 2 dates, the 25th or the 27th, March 25th, March 27th. I think that's right. Yeah, no, 27th and 29th. So let me correct myself. March 27th, which is Monday, or Wednesday, it will come back to committee. So we can do our part.
On the House side,
On
correct?
the House side is going to the committee. We need to flood talks, and they work. They really do work. And you can call it's the message center, and you call this number, and I'm going to give it 501-682-6211. And you leave a message for your House of Representatives or for the committee. And the chair of the committee is try to remember, Representative Dwight Tosh.
Oh,
He is out of Jonesboro.
he's a very good friend of mine.
Okay.
I was literally the maid of honor, best man, whatever, for his daughter's wedding.
Okay, so this is what you can do. You can send
I'm
him a
calling
picture.
Tosh.
We really need to kill this bill. So I'll say again, 501-682-6211. And call and say to vote no. We need to stop it at a committee. And we can do that. I know a lot of people can't always go down because these committee meetings are during the day, and not everyone has the ability to go and speak out or to be there. But you can be that. This could be your flip.
Right. Yeah.
And I call all the time and be very nice to them, to the message. I just say that, they're just there to take a message. And I can't remember her name because I call every time I'm calling, I say, "Hey girl, it's Debrah." I get all, I says, "I just want to send a message." And they'll put this little pink slip or whatever color the slip is. And it's pink, right? Pink slip, and they will put a message to that person, and when they'll see it and they'll know to do it. So we need to do that. We did it. It was very effective.
I was talking to a Republican representative, and last week he said he got about 150 of these calls.
Wow.
2 of them were Republican. So
I love it.
keep calling, people. Keep
Yes.
calling.
I will say this: no need to call like on that committee any Democrats. They got you. They got your back. You need to contact, especially if your state representative happens to be someone that's a Democrat. They're good. You need to call the Republicans, and let them know. And that counts. And let's kill that in committee so that it never makes its way. And we have to stay diligent. So that's why I'll say that SB 71 needs to die.
I do think it's going to have a harder time on the House floor.
funny that, usually the Senate, the upper chamber tends to be the chamber of reason and no,
Yeah.
it's the reverse. It's the reverse.
Thank you. I put a link in the chat if you guys want to check it out, and that is the full bill, SB 71, so you can check it out and read it. And the number is also in there, in the chat. But up in the nest above the space, you'll see two tweets that are up there. That is for the March 25th Run for Office workshop and the April 1st Run for Office workshop. Definitely check that out. And the website for the Democratic Black Caucus of Arkansas is in there as well. One last question for you, Ms. Deborah. If you could imagine a perfect Arkansas, what would that look like to you?
Ooh,
It's a great question.
perfect. Well, nothing's ever perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't want a perfect Arkansas. I just want a better Arkansas. Okay. I want an Arkansas that's for all people. This used to be a
Land of
land
opportunity.
of opportunity. When I first moved here in the 90s, it was called the land of opportunity. And it should go back to that, being somewhere where it doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, what your nationality, your life experience, especially your social economic situation. It should be an opportunity for all. So I'm not really asking for a perfect. I just want it to be better. And I'm here fighting for that.
I love it. I love it. Well, we have Miss LaToya here with us. How are you this morning?
Hey, Sarah.
I'm doing well. How are you doing? I'm doing fine.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Could you tell us, you're running for president of AEA. Could you tell us a little bit more about AEA? Who are they? What do they do?
Okay, so the Arkansas Education Association is a professional organization for educators. And that's whether you're a teacher in the classroom, a custodian, in whatever capacity that you serve in a public school, you can be a member of the Arkansas Education Association. So our fundamental objective is to work for quality and equitable education for all of Arkansans, all of our students in our state, and make sure that that qualities for workers within the field are being met. That is what we do. We advocate for educators because while we're working, we have to have somebody looking out for us because it's impossible for us to do both effectively. So that is what the Arkansas Education Association is.
I love that. And it's definitely needed. Definitely needed.
Definitely needed. In the times that we're living in right now, like it's needed more than ever.
So tell me a little bit, you're running for president of AEA. What inspired you to run?
So if I could just be completely transparent,
Completely transparent.
completely transparent. So in 2017, a student that I had while he was in middle school, he reacted instead of responding to a situation, and it cost him his life. So after that, I've had several students that did not live to their full potential, or weren't able to obtain their dreams, for whatever reason. And a lot of the times, those situations, those issues that those students were dealing with were outside of the school realm. And so I immediately sprung into action, okay, what can I do? So I had the opportunity to run for school board because I was like, I need to do something so I can make a difference. That didn't work out. So I just began to advocate. And in advocating, I began to see that there were systems that needed to be addressed, and there were things that I felt like things that need to be done different. And so I'm like, well, it's kind of impossible. Well, not impossible, but it's possible for me to do that while I'm working every day. But I need to be in a space where I can just live in that space. And so that's basically why why I'm running for AEA president, because I envision a different Arkansas for our students and our educators. And I feel like I have the enthusiasm, I have the passion, I have the zeal, I have the temperance to do that and to develop the genius and help others find their genius. That's the other part of why I'm running. So like voting is not, it's just something that we do. It's ingrained in us, and so that's why I'm running for AEA president.
I do have to say, we talked earlier this week, and I think we both thought it was going to be like a quick 5-minute conversation, and it turned into an hour.
Right.
Talking back and forth, and I absolutely just love your passion and your compassion, your empathy, and your motivation. It's extremely inspiring. And when we talk about education in Arkansas, we do need people like you in office that are looking out for everybody, looking out for the students, looking out for the administrators and the teachers and the staff, the support staff, and the parents.
Yes.
So I thank you for running for this position, and I am going to put up some information so you guys can check that out, and about Miss LaToya and how you can vote for her. I do have a couple more questions. We have been talking a lot about the Learn, and it will make a big impact on students, teachers, administrators, and support staff. What are your biggest concerns with this act?
So the Learns Act will set us back at least 2 generations. So we live in a society where we're always talking about moving forward. So this Learns Act is actually going to set us back. So, but I'm most concerned with the voucher aspect, and because the vouchers are of little value to children who need extensive interventions to get the appropriate education, for which the law states that they are entitled to. And so as a public school teacher, I see this every single day. I see this struggle every single day. And I'm a part of the struggle to serve the children with the greatest need. And if this is, well, it's already been signed, it's going to impact those students. So we may not always strive to get the results that we need, that we strive for, but we never stop striving to get those results for the children that we serve on a daily basis. So the problems that we have will be compounded, and as those sought after students are the ones that cost less to serve, leave our schools, taking with them the funding that we need. So public schools serve students, parents, and the community. So we all benefit from that. But when our students are equipped with the tools that they need for success, the other portion of the bill that I'm concerned about is the removal of the Fair Teacher Dismissal Act. And so in that, there is a clause that says that you can't basically take our pay away from us. And so for veteran educators who have been in the field serving and doing the work, their pay is going to be affected. And so you have a lot of educators that run their households by themselves. We're already working multiple jobs to make ends meet, and that's going to hurt us because we are not valued as the professionals that we are. So that's a huge concern for me, a huge concern for the educators that have been doing the work. It's like we're not being valued. We're not being seen. Well, we're being seen, but we're obviously not being heard. So those are 2 of the biggest things that I'm thinking that I think that are detrimental to our educational system. So basically, if we don't have, we've been promised $50,000, and I know it's like dangling this carrot in front of people. Oh, 50,000, but when you look at it, that's all that we could ever make is 50,000. You're not being compensated for your schooling. You're not being compensated for your experience. So we're just, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what you call it. Modern day slavery to me is what you call it.
Wage increase.
We there's so many different things that I don't agree with this act, but you and I had talked the other day, and I was telling you about my daughter. They had a career day at her school, and she really wants to be a teacher. She was talking to the teachers, and you know, I said, "Well, this could be your main job, but what do you want for your second job?" And they were being honest. You know, they're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and so my daughter's like, "Mom, what is my second job going to be?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, like, is that where we're at?" And then and that's without this, you know, implemented. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna-
the space that we live in
what was that?
currently. I said that's the space that we live in, that the average educator lives in, like permanently. Like that's where we live. And then if you are a classified staff, you know, a lot of them are not even, they weren't even included in the bill. So that's a slap in the face. So why are we not? We need everybody to make this work.
Working on it.
Totally
We can't
agree.
do it with. We can't.
Totally agree.
I think we lost you, LaToya.
Oh, did you lose me?
Oh,
I'm
there
here.
there we go. Yeah, and there's so much about this bill. You and I have had lots of conversations, and anyone out there that's listening from the Rural Caucus, please go to your educators in your community, find out if they are members of the AEA, and they have like a 2-week period that they can vote for LaToya. And we absolutely need to get her into that leadership position. This is literally us against them on this president of AEA.
Yeah.
And because the person that she's running against, we're not supporting. We'll just say that. And we want LaToya in that position. And there are things about this bill that people don't understand. The grading system is really, really a scary thing because they have this grading system that's put in place for the public schools. And part of that grading system is about the crime in the area of the school. Like there's things that the school literally has no say in. Am I right, LaToya?
Correct. Correct.
And they're going to get graded on that. And if their grade falls below a certain level, that school has been taken over by a private or charter school, and all of the public school kids will fall into that charter school.
That only has a C. That only has to have a C. So we're graded from A through F. So a charter school with a C can come over and take over, or become a transformational school is what they call it in the bill. And then wait 2 years before they're even graded again. What sense does that make?
And the charter school doesn't even they have 5 years to even get accredited.
Right. I before the Loans Act was passed, I was reading some articles, and there's an article out there. I wish I had it in front of me, but it had all of the Arkansas charter schools that had a D in F rating. So if we're talking about, they're going to close the public schools and then put them under charter schools, if the charter schools are ranking the same way, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
It is designed to be a takeover. They were trying to privatize our public education. If the Republicans have it the way they want, 10 years from now, there will be no public education. Yet it's directly against the Constitution of the state. It's the Constitution of Arkansas. The Constitution of Arkansas specifically says public funds for public education. So this whole bill is unconstitutional and needs to be thrown out.
Definitely.
And we are going to veto.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yes, we're definitely talking about that. There's really awesome about it. But I did have one more question.
Okay.
What do you hope to do as AEA president?
Ooh, what do I hope to do as AEA president? For one, I will use my voice to lead, to gain the confidence, to gain the trust of our membership and our community. While doing that, I will inspire students and educators to discover their genius, because we've been beaten down so much. We are in need of a leader that is entrusted or indebted to making sure that the genius in everyone is discovered. I will also grow our membership, so we know that with numbers there's power, and it's a matter of making educators and the community, because community members can also be ally membership. So connecting and making those partnerships and collaborating and networking with everyone within our community. And last but not least, I will build the internal dynamics within our organization to make sure our members are empowered, because because I don't honestly feel like people understand how much power they have, and you do not have to be afraid to speak out. And when you do, you have support behind you. So those are the guarantees that I will do once I am elected as AEA president. I'll walk. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I love that. So I did put a link for everybody in the chat for the AEA. If you know a teacher in Arkansas, please send them that link. They can join the AEA through that website. And we really do need to get Miss LaToya Morgan into this position so that she can make those changes.
Yes.
LaToya,
If you want what you've always, received, you keep voting the same way. But if you want something different, then you vote to get more with Morgan. That's your only option if you want more.
that is completely right. That's completely right. We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. So we do. You need, all of us need to be involved and voting in every single election. My last question, Latoya, if you could imagine a perfect Arkansas, what would that look like to you?
Well, as an educator, nothing's perfect. I can say that, but I want to live in a state where we all live in peace, we all live in harmony, a space that's exempt of poverty, a place where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential. Like Debrah Mitchell said, I was thinking about that when she said the land of opportunity. So I remember being in elementary school and knowing that our motto was Arkansas is the land of opportunity. But then I'm like, but is it really the land of opportunity? Is that the space that we're currently living in? So I want to live in I want Arkansas to be a space where people advocate for each other, regardless of what they look like, regardless of who they love, regardless of how much money you make. I want us to be a group of people that honestly take care of each other. That's the ideal Arkansas for me, where everyone is given the opportunity to be their best self, not based off of your zip code. That's the perfect Arkansas for me.
That is. I totally agree with that. I would love to see that. I think we could get there. We can definitely.
We will get there. Because you have people that are dedicated to doing the work of us getting there.
Yeah.
You actually have people that are dedicated to making the world a better place for other people. I want the world to be better, than I when I walked in it or when I was born into it. I wanted to leave it better. That's my daily goal.
I love that. Thank you so much, Ms. LaToya.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
So we have Robert here.
Right.
You started your law firm in 2015. Can you tell us a little bit about your law career?
Sure. So in 2015, we started Taya's law firm, and what we had seen was from 2009 until 2015, I worked primarily with Spanish-speaking immigrants, doing all types of law, whether it's criminal law, traffic law, DWI law, family law, some immigration law. And so in 2015, when I started Taya's law firm, I wanted to continue that focus, but widen the net a little bit. And so since 2015, we have continued a focus, or a big part of our practices was Spanish speakers, immigrants, but then also of all people of color. And I feel like I'm, with the right people here because, we've worked a lot throughout rural Arkansas as well. And so I've traveled around the state, we've traveled around the state. And so I've had a firsthand glimpse at the practice of law in communities across the state of Arkansas. And so, it's a focus, a client focused, compassionate firm. And that's, and that's reflected not only in who we serve, but also our team. And, a very diverse team of 10 that work at Tellez Law Firm. And so we're really focused on serving others and helping people with their legal issues. But then also we really take care of people like their family.
Thank you. So you're running for judge in Little Rock. What inspired you to run?
Well, I truly what it is I want to make our focus seeing the humanity of all participants in the court system. And so, when I'm in the different courts, in particular the one I'm running for, Little Rock Traffic Court, when I look, I've always made a point, even though I'm upfront with the attorneys, I always look back at the people that are participants in the system, whether they are the actual accused or the defendants, or even the police officers in Little Rock Traffic Court. And so what I'd like to do as judges really continue to focus on the humanity of all the participants in the court system and make it better, make it to where people feel like they're seen, heard, and make it very human focused. I understand, my job as judge will be to follow the law, but within that, the black robe means to be unbiased and to, so there has to be a way to follow the law while also seeing the humanity of all participants in the system and make it so where people feel seen and heard and that they can be, heard in the system. That's why I want to be a judge.
That is so needed. That's really needed. We need more people like that are, thinking of the humanity aspect of everything. So in January, Sarah had announced that she's going a new criminal justice reform, and that would be a priority for her administration. Studies have shown that when there's a lack of social programs in place, these laws greatly impact marginalized communities. How would you like to see the courts address this?
Well, I'll start off with for the position that I'm running for, it's a district court. And so what that means is that we can handle felony first appearances. So the whole idea of pretrial release is very important. The whole idea of money bond that can keep poor people in jail. So we have to stay focused on making sure that we release people in the community and following the rules of criminal procedure that say money bond has to be a last resort. We also handle misdemeanor crimes. We handle traffic ticket defense, DWI, or traffic tickets, DWI cases, and then we also can handle civil cases with 25,000 or less at issue. And so I think it's the court where the majority of Arkansans are going to be a participant in, which is district court. And so I feel like that has been a huge part of my practice and our practice. And so I feel like I'll be well suited to be a judge in that type of court. To answer your question directly, since 2009, working in criminal defense, both at the state and the federal level, what I have seen is the parole system in Arkansas. There's a lot of crimes that are, you may get a certain amount of time, but there's hope because there's a 1/3, 1/6 parole eligibility. And then sometimes you go up a little bit, it's a 1/2, 1/4 parole eligibility. Our violent crimes already have very difficult, real high parole eligibilities in state law. So your murders, your rapes, aggravated robberies, things of that nature. For first offenses, if somebody's convicted of those crimes, they'll have to do 70% before they're eligible for parole. We already have laws that for second offense violent offenders, they have to do 100% of the law. So what's occurring with this potential new bill is that there's going to be more crimes that are given very high parole eligibilities, whether that may be no parole eligibility, you have to serve your entire sentence, or potentially what's in the federal system, which is there's not parole in the federal system, but if you get some good times, you end up doing about 85% of your time. The thing that concerns me about this potential bill, although I think what's being stated is that there has to be some movement on violent crime, and so therefore we have to make it harder on violent crime. I would argue that our current law already has that system in place, and I think if you make it to where people that are committed to crime or convicted of crimes don't have some hope to do well, get good time, and be released back into the community, I think you make our communities less safe. So I know that Jimmy Gazaway and some others are working hard on this bill. They are being thorough and thoughtful. But I told Jimmy Gazaway a couple weeks ago that I am concerned about making it to where some of um, the crimes, you putting more crimes into that net and really increasing the parole eligibility. I think it may make us less safe ultimately. And in terms of your social services, I think we we have to stay focused on the root causes of crime. I think in our country, I think we're pretty good at the punishment side, but what are we doing to focus on preventing crime in the first
Right.
place? And so I think we have to continue to focus on a lot of holistic programs to give people hope at jobs and the ability to be, to be contributing members of society once they get out of prison. And so I think we have to maintain that as our focus. It may be easier to focus on the punishment, but really we need to stay focused on the root cause of crime and put our time and energy there.
So, a lot of this prison reform stuff, I want to throw some things at you and just get your thoughts on from the legal side of the house. Because there's a couple of things specifically that it looks like they're going to run in upcoming bills or a bill. It might be a big omnibus bill like the education bill, but it's all prison. I think that's what we're going to get. But a couple of things specifically. If you go in and lift the parole requirements of people that are already there, you're going to increase the housing needs of prisoners. And there was a lot of gaslighting that went on in the last election, when, especially from Attorney General Tim Griffin, that went out there and was being very direct about the problem of releasing people to early parole. But the reality of that is it was Asa Hutchinson's administration and the Republican administration that made the decision to put more people out of the system onto the street because we didn't have enough people. And then they came back over the top saying it was a Democrat problem that people were getting early parole, and that they literally turned the issue in their favor through propaganda and rhetoric, and it was gaslighting. But now what they're saying is we want to extend those parole dates. And the question I'm posing to you, when these sentences were handed down, they were handed down with the knowledge that they would only possibly serve a third or a half or a sixth. And then so the sentence was given with that knowledge. And then to come back after the fact and say, well, nope, we're going to make you serve the whole term. It seems counterproductive because they may not have gotten that length of term in the first place if we would have known they had to spend the whole time in that term. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the first problem. The second problem is this creates a gigantic housing problem. And word on the street is they want to build as many as 7 new prisons.
Good luck. Not gonna happen.
So let's talk about how much money we're talking about. And for a party that has said, hey, we want to have small government, we want to reduce government overreach into our individual lives. Now we're talking about the LEARNS bill, which is going into everybody's lives, and it is creating this gigantic upwards of $500,000 a year program. You're wanting to add 7 prisons and keep people in prison 3 times longer than they're staying in there now. Where is the money coming from? So I know that I got way off base on 2, but let's discuss that sentence has already been put in place and how this new bill will affect that. And then what do you think we're going to do for the money?
Well, so we had a recent situation where you had crimes that were previously not considered violent crimes, residential burglary, and so they had a 1/3, 1/6 parole eligibility.
Right.
And then the ADC made a decision after a few years of implementing it in one way that now they were going to say that it was a violent crime because the law changed. And they actually came back and took some people that were already on parole and said, no, hey, you got to come back. That's the way they're interpreting. Yes. So thankfully, one of our criminal defense leaders, Jeff Rosenzweig, he actually went to the legislator a week or so ago, and they're going to hopefully fix that because that was that violates ex post facto. Yeah, and so we would have to make sure that if they do, if the law is changed, that it only moves forward, because going backwards, I think it violates ex post facto and could be unconstitutional. So I think that's one issue. I still think we should work within the current structure that we have and make our current justice system better and work on it, because there already are high parole eligibilities for violent crimes and no parole eligibility for multiple offenders. And I've seen in the federal system, as I do federal criminal defense work as well, that when you have when you don't have parole eligibility and you have things like Armed Career Criminal Act and career offender, um, some of the sentences become astronomical, and it really does uh, prevent people from having hope. And so I think we can look at the federal system, and we can look at some of the states that tried this truth in sentencing laws back in the 90s. And most of those states that tried the quote unquote truth in sentencing laws have actually decided to go away from it, just because making parole uh, unavailable, they found did not make their states safer. And you also have the point that you mentioned as well about the funding. And so we being fiscally responsible, using our limited resources well, um, you have to look at the financing as well. I have to say it's important as a judicial candidate. It's a nonpartisan race, and so we're sworn to follow the law. But as a candidate, I think it's important that I at least state what I've seen in my experience doing criminal defense for 13 years, both in state and federal court. And so, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Couple more questions for you, Rob. What do you hope to accomplish as judge?
Well, mentioning what you said earlier, I think, in considering running for judge, back in November 2020, I put my name in the hat for a U.S. federal magistrate judge position here in the Eastern District, and almost was appointed, was not. But that kind of made me realize that, I'm qualified, and this is something I want to do. And I think this time around, I tried to use discernment and think about where I had the best chance of making an impact, learning how to become a judge, and really helping the community. And that's why I chose to run for this position versus another judicial position. It is a county-wide race, so Pulaski and Perry counties. It'll be next March 5th, will be the election. And so we'll need, to spread the word, and I'll be out working hard, meeting with all types of groups to talk about what our vision is for the court. And again, and what I hope to do is I really want to make Little Rock District Court Second Division a traffic court position with those parameters I mentioned earlier, the types of cases that we handled. Since we're going to see so many Arkansans of different types of people, I really want people to feel like they have a shot in the court, that they're seen, that they're heard, and that they at least will have the ability to have their story told and heard. And I think we need to continue. I think in that court, the current Judge Fleming, he's done a good job. He's told me that, he's probably not going to run again. I don't know what he'll decide, but that's really not for me. It's there has not been any corruption in that court for 20 plus years. So take the base that he and the stability he's created, and let's take it up another level, which is to make it an inclusive court where people are heard and seen. One thing as well that I think is important is that, and actually Judge Fleming told me this, is that he has thought that, if we can help people that have traffic tickets, misdemeanor crimes, those things early on, and have them see the humanity in them in that lower level court that I'm running for, maybe we can prevent some violent crimes if we actually give people some services and some help early on when they're in the criminal justice system. And it starts in district court. That's where we all start. And so hopefully, if we can see the humanity and I know the police officers in Little Rock as well want some changes made. So I look forward to working with them and with the city board and Mayor Scott. And there's a lot of things we can do to make our system incrementally better. And I'm excited to be a part of that. I don't have all the answers, but I know I'm willing to listen, stay humble. I know I have a lot of experience in state and federal courts. so I feel like I can make an impact and be that type of judge, that jurist.
It sounds like we can sum up Robert's position with one word: compassion.
Yes. Yes.
I heard the word compassion over and over and over again in your explanation, and we need compassionate judges.
We do. We do. I did put his website, Rob's website, up in the nest. If you guys want to check that out, please check that out. It's tellezforjudge.com. If you know anybody in, is it Pulaski and Perry County? Let them know about Robert and send them his website. It goes more in depth than we have been able to this morning, but they'll get a chance to get to know more about him and contact him, help him out with his campaign. Really, really rooting for you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate you.
Signature.
We will. Yep.
Yeah, when you get ready for signatures, let us know. We'll help you.
If you could imagine a better Arkansas, the perfect Arkansas, what would that look like to you?
You know, I'm gonna channel my esteemed panelists here with me. I think it's a place where we help each other, where we see and acknowledge the historical inequities and say, okay, how can we help each other in this current moment to do a little better? And so, you know, whether that can be, you know, if you don't have a driver's license, can we provide some services to help you get a driver's license? You know, you have some warrants in some rural counties. Can we at least let you know how to contact driver control or contact those clerk's offices to see if we can guide you in the right direction to get those warrants taken off so you can get your license reinstated? You know, you're a Spanish-speaking immigrant or non-citizen, making sure they understand the immigration consequences of even misdemeanor guilty pleas, because there can be immigration consequences. You know, with the felony first appearance, making sure that we really look at, is this person really a danger to the community? Are they a flight risk? If they're not, are they poor? If they're an indigent person, should we really be putting money bond on people to prevent them from going home and working and being with their families until they have their court dates in circuit court? I mean, there's so many things that we can do that seem small, but if you do them daily, they can make a huge impact. And our court system is what, you know, Judge Griffin said this to me, you know, last one time, that the court system is what prevents us from having violence in the streets. If you have a place where people can go and seek redress for their wrongs and have a system of justice that provides that, then it prevents people from having to engage in violence. And so I think we have to stay focused and vigilant on what our court system can and should be. So that's what I want, is a court system where we help each other. First off, we see each other, we see the humanity in each other, and then we help each other. Now, will that include punishment? Of course. Will that include boundaries? Yes. Will that include all these things that we have to follow the law? Yes. That's very important. But there has to be a way to do it with compassion and to look at the human person. So that's what I hope. That's what I believe Arkansas's judicial system can be.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I do have a couple questions for Steve. The caucus has been hosting town halls as part of the 2023 Dirt Road Democrat Tour. Can you tell us a little bit more about these town halls?
Absolutely. What we're trying to do is we want to get hyper local within the rural communities around the state of Arkansas. We want to go give people a chance to speak in Brinkley or Camden or Arkadelphia or Crittenden County, Cabot, all around the state. We want to give people the opportunity to step forward and tell us what they're thinking. Tell us what's affecting their lives on a daily basis. Tell us what's keeping them up at night. Because there's a whole lot of culture wars and crazy stuff going on.
I don't
And
think it's trans.
yeah, 80% of Arkansas aren't worried about these culture wars. They're worried about the fact that they've got $40 in the bank account.
Right.
You have to decide: are we going to get medicine for my kids, or are we going to buy food and put it in the refrigerator, or are we going to pay our house note? And you know, a lot of things keep coming down, taking money away from hardworking Arkansans. They are attacking our social services, and we talked earlier about where's the money going to come from. In a week, we're about to see where the money's going to come from, and the legislators are going to go into action. And in Arkansas, we have to have a balanced budget. It's in the Constitution. We don't have a choice. So all of this money and appropriation that they're saying that they want to expand, they have got to take money away from something.
What's that going to be?
Well, right now, the word on the street is they're going to completely cut the Affordable Care Act for Arkansans. We will not have the option for the Affordable Care Act in Arkansas. They're reducing the amount of time that we can be on unemployment, because the states are given a guideline by the federal government on some of these programs, and we're dropping every single thing that we have leeway from the federal government. We're dropping it to the minimum, to where people can only be on these social programs for the minimum amount of time, and then they're off. We're trying to create a workfare program to where, in order to receive your Medicare, you're going to go make you work. If you're an able body, they are going through the rolls, literally just removing as many people from the rolls that they can. So if your paperwork isn't up to date, you're about to be thrown off the rolls. So they are going to go through and take our social services away. So what we're doing with these town halls is we're getting into these smaller towns. We're listening, and we're helping to educate, because what we're finding is people don't understand what's in these bills. The representatives themselves don't even know what's in these bills.
They're going so quick. How do they have time to?
I would challenge House of Representatives and senators right now to honestly come forward and raise their hand and swear that they've read every word in the bills they're voting for, because they're not. And so, as people, we have got to be the education arm. And as a rural caucus, we're trying to get out and do these town halls and help educate and listen to questions and answer, and then take that voice back to the state house and say, this is what the people of Arkansas want.
And you guys the Rural Caucus is having a town hall in Cabot at the Cabot Library on Tuesday at 5:30. I did put in the Nest a link where you can watch it on Facebook Live if you're not able to make it. There's also a link in the chat where you could submit a question prior to the panel. And one last question before we wrap up, Steve, if you could imagine a perfect Arkansas, what would that look like to you?
It would look a lot different than what we have right now. To me, Arkansas should be about the land of opportunity. It should be about equity. We throw the word equality around, and we need to look at a fair opportunity for all Arkansans, no matter what your socioeconomic, what your race, what your religious belief, who you love. We should have equity for all. You should be able to look at people of Arkansas, and I hate to say this, as if they're a number, and they get the exact same thing no matter what number they are.
Right.
I don't care if you're a billionaire or if you have $40 in the bank account right now. So a better Arkansas to me is a system of government that allows for people to be treated fairly. And it seems like that should be easy. It seems like that is the basic constitutional right. And I want to go back to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And those are the three basic guaranteed rights that we have, not just as Arkansans, but as Americans. And these things that they're talking about are taking away liberty. They're taking away the pursuit of happiness. If you're being told you're not allowed to love who you want to love just because I have some moral problem with it, your pursuit of happiness is affected.
Yeah.
If I tell somebody that we're going to throw out, SB 71 and throw out affirmative action, liberty is being affected. And we need to go back and remember those three tenets: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we need to let that be our litmus test for everything that we're doing. And if we did, things would look a whole lot different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the caucus has been working closely with the Capes Coalition. Would you explain a little bit more about the coalition and what they're doing?
Sure. I'll just try to keep this under a couple minutes. So the LEARNS bill that has been passed and signed by Sarah Huckabee Sanders is unconstitutional, and it's going to send our state back by decades, as LaToya said. So what we have done is we have formed a coalition of teachers, parents, students, and concerned citizens, and it's called the CAPES Coalition, Citizens for Arkansas Public Education and Students. And that coalition right now, last night, we have almost 800 people that have joined the coalition in 2 weeks. And we haven't even announced that we actually exist yet. So we're going to have a rally in Little Rock on April 13th. more information coming. Mark your calendar, 4:30. We're going to all hit the state of Arkansas or the central Arkansas. We're going to let Sarah Huckabee know that we don't like this Learns bill. But what we're going to do is we are forming to have a referendum of what's called a citizens veto referendum. And what that says that if we can get 52,400 verified signatures, it halts this Learns bill. And it puts it on the ballot for November of 2024. And then the people of Arkansas can decide if this is what we want or not. And more importantly, it stops the bill from going into effect for almost 2 years. And that's very important when we start talking about teacher contracts and things, because teacher contracts are coming out next week and they'll have 30 days to send it back. So and it'll be on the new Learns Act. And we're already seeing school districts that are laying people off. Hasn't even gone into effect. People are laying people off because they're trying to find money. I'll quote the Little Rock School District. They just released some facts this week that in order to meet the funding for the teacher raises that the state of Arkansas has put in effect with Learns, it's going to cost them $12.2 million. They have the budget for $4.4 million. Where is the other $7.8 million coming from? And they're asking the question and they're not getting the answers. Well, they can't get answers because we don't have an appropriation bill that's been passed for this yet. Yet it's a law that's already in effect and schools are already making decisions on it. So with the referendum, we're going to put a pause on that. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to get the 52,000 signatures since we have 38,000 teachers in Arkansas and about 80% of them are against it. So we need everybody to join. It's ARKCAPES.com, just like Superman's cape. We're going to do the cape for the students in public education for Arkansas. We're putting our capes on and we're going to come save the education system in Arkansas. And we need everybody to join the cause, like everybody. Go to that, fill it out. Even if you just want to get on our newsletter list and stay informed with what's going on. When we announce this officially and we start taking organizers on, we're expecting in the thousands of organizers. And we need everybody to step up and help. So ARKCAPES.com, join up. And there's always ArkansasRuralCaucus.com. I'd like you to go to that too and join the caucus. We have about 500 members of the caucus right now, and we're excited that that's growing like exponentially by the week. And when we have a voice that grows this strong, they're going to have to listen to us. So
Yeah, I absolutely love what the coalition is doing. The Arkansas state motto is the people rule. And I think that the people are starting to realize their power and step into it. So I love that so much. There are links in the chat for everybody. If you would please check out the Black Caucus and the Rural Caucus and check out soon to be Judge Tellez's website. Also, Miss LaToya Morgan, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. And we will be in Jonesboro with Dean next Friday at 9 a.m. So definitely, I will put that up in the nest. Definitely set a reminder for that so you can join us next week. Thank you so much. You guys have a good day. Bye.
job, guys.